Hi guys, and welcome to Dreaming in Fibre. I am your host Sarah from sarahstexturecrafts.com. You can find today's show notes at dreaminginfibre.blogspot.co.uk, and of course you can sign up to the newsletter at sarahstexturecrafts.com, where you'll get not only this podcast and all the show notes delivered to you on a monthly basis, but you'll also get all the behind the scenes stuff and entry to free competitions as well. So let's crack on with today's show, shall we? So it's my birthday. Sarah's Texture Crafts is 10 years old this month, so I'm really thrilled to sort of share that with you. But also I kind of wanted to record a quick podcast and just thank you really for all of your support and help throughout, the time that I've been doing this, those 10 years. So thank you ever so much to everybody who's been in support, and for those of you who've just found me, please do join in at sarahstexturecrafts.com, where you can find out all about me and the kind of things that I make. So I thought I would show you, this is an old piece, but it's a needle felted piece of cake, and this is about as close as I'm going to get to birthday cake because of course I'm dairy intolerant. So if you've got any recipes for cake that doesn't incorporate cake or egg as well, because I'm allergic to egg, then please do send them my way. But yeah, this is needle felted with merino that you can buy in my shop, and that's my slice of cake to celebrate my birthday. So how was May? How did it treat you? It was really busy here and also quite relaxing as well. It was a really odd combination, but yeah, it was quite busy because I had to pack 4 weeks into 3 because I took a week break with Darren. It was much needed because it's my first little holiday of the year. So we stayed home. We didn't do a huge amount, but we went to walk the dog and went on lots of days out like that and took picnics and stuff, and just came back to work feeling really refreshed, and then kind of hammered into some big projects that I had, all of which I cannot talk to you about. It's been one of those months where production has been for all of the secret stuff that's going to go on here at Sarah's Texture Crafts. Not only for me, but also some collaborations I'm working on as well. Got news hopefully coming very soon, and there'll be giveaways and whatever tied in with that. So yeah, it's been busy, but it's been a fruitful month as well, and I also had time to relax. It was kind of cool. I hope your May was fantastic as well. Let me know what you were up to. What were you making? Join the Ravelry group, Sarah's Texture Crafts Ravelry group, and show us your projects there as well and get chatting, because it's nice to see what you're making and to talk inspiration, that kind of thing. And particularly in a month where I haven't had, any time to do crafting other than the secret sauce stuff, it'll kind of be nice to see what you're working on and for you to share those with me. So I thought today I would go into shop update stuff, and then give information on the winner of last podcast giveaway, and also talk about the giveaway that I'm running currently, and then an upcoming giveaway as well. So stay tuned, and I'll be back in a mo after these photos. So if you didn't nip off and get a coffee there, then you will have noticed that I showed you a bat and a picture of a yarn. So I'll show you the bat first. This is my birthday colourway. It's called Old Gold, and the bats contain merino and then some bamboo staple. These will spin up lovely and you'll get some nice texture from the bamboo. You can also felt with them as well. So that's Old Gold in bat form. I've got a few of those left on the website, so hop on over and grab yourself some of those. And then I have got some yarn. Now, interesting story. I showed you guys the yarn, which is a patina dye technique, and that basically means that I've layered up colour in an unusual technique for me, but it means that I've been able to separate areas of, say, this turquoise against the main colour, which means that when you're knitting it, rather than those colours blending and forming a green, which is what they would normally do, you get this effect. So every so often you get a dot of colour there. Okay, so that's old gold. Now the story. I sent out the newsletter on June the 1st, and as usual with newsletters, I get a flurry of sales afterwards, but hadn't expected this, and certainly hadn't expected it on what's essentially a yellow colourway for me, because they don't normally do terribly well. I did have, you know, nice hopes for this particular colourway because it was a new dye technique, and I thought that was really interesting. But I dyed 5 skeins and then 7 mini skeins. Within 2 hours the 5 skeins had all been sold, and the majority of the mini skeins had gone as well. In fact, by the end of the day all of the mini skeins had gone, and I got a flurry of emails from you guys asking me when I would be dyeing this yarn again. Now, of course, not to disappoint, June 2nd I put up a listing on my Cozy Sock base for 10 more skeins. By the end of that day, it was by the end of the weekend actually, I had 8 of those left. So much so that I've put up another, not 8 of those left, I've got 2 of those 10 skeins left. So needless to say, I thought, oh, before the podcast, because I'm about to announce this colour on the podcast, and for those of you who don't get the newsletter, this is your chance to see it and get some, I better put up some more pre-orders for you. So on the website you'll find there are 8 skeins now left of 9 skeins of superwash sock that I put up for you to pre-order. So please go and grab those at sarahstexturecrafts.com as quickly as possible, because they might sell out. And this is going to be the last time I'm going to do this colourway for a little while. I may introduce it into the range either maybe later on in the year, or I might leave it till next year, just because it had quite a good reception. So if you want that, please come over and get those now. That's sarahstexturecrafts.com, and the colourway is Old Gold. Those listings will be, including the back one as well, will be on the home page at Sarah's Texture Crafts, okay? Thank you so much for such a phenomenal response. I really couldn't believe it, and I couldn't be more thrilled, it being my birthday month and all. So it was really great that, you know, I got to celebrate this with you and put something out there for you. So sorry, excuse me. Having said that, I wanted to announce that for my next giveaway, which will be exclusive to newsletter members only, there will be a skein of this on my standard sock base, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. 100 grams, you get 425 metres. So it's enough to, I've got size 5 foot and I do a 5-inch cuff. I get 2 pairs of socks out of this. So you should be able to get 1 pair of socks out for yourself, or anywhere from a size 5 to say a size 10 foot in the UK. Of course, it would be lovely for shawls. If you are lucky enough to get there quickly and you want to order a sweater's worth, then potentially there's a sweater's worth there for you. So come on over and grab some. But this will be the giveaway yarn. So if you want to win a skein of this, sign up to my newsletter on the website, and you'll stand a chance to win that. Speaking of competitions, I wanted to show you the current competition. If you are a newsletter member, then you have a chance of winning one of my colour block yarns. This is on the superwash sock base, which is 80% superwash blue face Leicester and 20% nylon, which has got a lovely high twist, so they're going to be extra hard wearing. Don't have to use them for socks. You could of course use this to make a lovely shawl, and you'll get a beautiful colour block effect. So that's up for grabs. You have to be a newsletter member. That's the only place that I'm giving this away. So pop on over to the website, get yourself signed up. This closes on the 9th of June, so I'm hoping that I'll get this podcast up as early as I can today, so that you've got plenty of time to watch it and get yourself involved. So last time on the podcast I was going to give away a pattern called the Eiffel Cow, written by Natalie Tidy of the Natters Knit podcast here on YouTube, which please go and check out Natalie's podcast. I want to announce the winner as Saratoga Knitting or Saratoga Knitting. You haven't got an H on the end of your name, so I'm taking the opportunity to presume that you pronounce your name as I do and say Sarah instead of Sarah. Could be totally wrong there, so I apologise if I got that wrong. But you are the lucky winner. I will be contacting you today via Ravelry, and I'm also going to send word to Natalie to send you that PDF gift for you. Please bear in mind that Natalie travels a lot with work, so it might take her a while to get back to you, but she definitely will get back to you and send that pattern, okay? So please be looking out for those emails, and well done. So as I say, get in to the newsletter to sign up for those coming giveaways, and also in the next few months there's going to be some more exciting giveaways too, so stay tuned. What else did I need to talk about today? Yes, it's a very quick podcast. It's just because I have to go and dye all the pre-orders that you've just made for this. And I also need to ship the rest of the orders that came in over the weekend, so need to get my finger out. So I thought I would just do kind of a quick rundown of the kind of things that I'm celebrating here for 10 years. So I kind of can't believe it's been 10 years. It seems crazy short in some respects, but such a long time or sort of period in my life. Sarah's Texture Crafts has been it's been a friend to me, it's been support for me, and it's been the place I've gone to when occasionally stuff in your personal life kind of gets you down. This is the place where I kind of seek solace and refuge, but it's also the place that has made me ultimately really happy in the last 10 years. Being able to work for myself is a fantastic thing, and as I always say, I couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you so much for your support. For the next 10 years? I don't know. Probably more of the same. I want to continue dyeing yarn and fibre for as long as I can, as long as my allergies. So for as long as I can keep up with this, I certainly will. It's as I say, it's been a lot of things to me, and you guys have been a lot of things to me. So I've been really pleased to be part of this, and I think this is definitely where I want to be for the next 10 years. What I do need to do is learn a bit more about kind of businessy stuff, and you're like, really? What, after 10 years shouldn't you just have this down pat and totally know what you're doing? Yeah, probably should, but if you haven't met me and I haven't spoken to your group about how I got started, and you haven't watched, I do an introduction video here on YouTube as well, then I guess I ought to tell you a bit about how I started. Very brief description of how I started, but yeah, 10 years ago I had £100 burning a hole in my pocket, and I decided that I was going to start something up. I was working at the time as a freelance fashion and textile designer, which was great, but there was a lot of downtime in between jobs because you were signed for contracts for collections or seasons, so you couldn't work therefore for anybody else during that time. So what would happen is that I had a lot of downtime, and as a bit of a workaholic I got incredibly bored, and of course I didn't have any friends to hang out with because they all had full-time jobs, so I decided that I wanted to have something, a little something on the side that would just kind of keep me ticking over, so that I wouldn't have to be bored at home and be watching things like Jeremy Kyle. Sorry Jeremy, but no, don't do it. So yeah, I had this £100 burning a hole in my pocket, and I decided to invest in some bankrupt stock on eBay. And it was all haberdashery items, which kind of made sense because that's my background, so I knew about it. So I knew that I would be able to split it up and sell it on, and I could at least have a level of customer service, although I was very much learning on the job. So that's how it started, and from when I sold through the first purchase that I made, I then bought more, and then I think it was probably about a year into it, I bought a company called Craftmania UK, I think they were called, and it was a business that was going into retirement, and they focused on fibre and felt making and spinning. So didn't know anything about felt making, I didn't know very much about spinning, so I'd kind of, before then I'd managed to sort of come across a couple of fibres and things, and I didn't really know what to do with them. They were like packs that I'd bought in these bankrupt stock lots, and they were packs of fibre, and I was sort of selling them on, but selling them based on the information that was on the back of the package. Anyway, one of these packages had instructions for felt making, so I thought I would have a go, and then I got into embellishing. So when I bought Craftmania, I had a really steep learning curve, because they were very breed specific about what they did. They also had a lot of equipment, which is how I got into selling Ashford product. And yeah, I mean, it was a steep learning curve, a very steep learning curve, but it actually hit me at just the right time, because the recession in the UK had really hit sort of fashion freelance work, so I knew that I wasn't going to get a huge amount of work coming up. So basically, because you're paid really a lot of money to do a few hours work each day, and so companies were scaling back. And so rather than sort of you know, get panicky and worried about where my next paycheck was coming from, I decided that Sarah's Texture Crafts ought to sort of start to pay for itself and be less of a time filler and a hobby and more of a business. So yeah, I bought that business, and you know, off I went into this journey of other things, other stuff. And since then I've taught myself to spin, both on a spindle and a wheel. I've also learnt to weave, thank you to Louise Cotty at Cold Harbour Mill. And I've learnt a lot of things. I also got into dyeing wool and yarn as well, as you know, which was, I'd always dyed fabrics beforehand, but they were more cotton based, and of course they were woven products. So a lot of the process I used were cold dye processes as well. So it was a learning curve to learn how to, you know, how much heat do you apply to the wool without felting it, you know, and all the stuff that you think of as a beginner and get kind of scared about. So yeah, there was a steep learning curve, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And to still be learning and teaching myself new things, you know, like this was something I really had to think about. Of course I knew the principles behind dyeing and mixing colour, but this was, you know, quite a new technique for me anyway. You know, and even doing things like this as well, that I've had to learn all of that. I've not done any courses, I've not taken any workshops, I've not even really looked at tutorials online. I'll be honest, I'm not one of those people who'll read an instructional manual. Don't do it. I'm a suck it and see kind of girl, so I'm an experiment kind of a girl. So yeah, if I want to try something new, I have to sit down and try and work out how it works, and then try it for myself. And then if it doesn't work, I learn much better from trying to understand why it didn't work, and therefore correcting the process. So yeah, been kind of fun, but it's been creative and it's been interesting. So yeah, I really love my job, and thank you for that. I think going forward there are a lot of things that I kind of need to learn more of, though, I guess. Yeah, and you know, I mean, that probably sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? After 10 years you'd think I kind of know enough to know where I'm going and move the business on, but yeah, I think there are still a few things that I kind of need to learn, and I guess it's from where I started, because I started and this was always a sideline to another job. And even when I went full time, I wanted to do things I had a small business by then, so I got caught up in the production and so on. So there were some things that I probably didn't grasp as well as maybe other people do, who maybe had a plan in the beginning and knew what their business was going to be before they started. For me, obviously, I had no idea that Sarah's Texture Crafts would become what it is today. I mean, obviously, I'm grateful. I am really grateful, but you know, I just didn't have that concept that this business would be what it is. So yeah, one of those things I definitely need to learn how to do is how to get myself out there a bit better. So kind of marketing or advertising and putting myself forward for things. And there's definitely been a consistency of lack of confidence within me in the first 10 years, and that's been for various reasons, whether it be because of personal things that I've been going through, and so I didn't kind of feel that I was ready, or it's kind of always striving for this creative sort of perfectionism, and the thing is, whilst you're always striving for it, and that's great to strive for, when do you ever reach it? Because there's always something more to learn. So you know, you should really put things into play and try and put yourself out there and feel confident in what you're doing in the moment. And that's something I need to learn a lot more of. There's a challenge on Instagram going on called Month of Bizlove, which is being hosted by Tara Swegger, who also has a YouTube podcast, and I'll link to her website in the show notes so you can find her yourself. And she is a motivational marketing expert, I guess, and she's been great because her advice in this challenge so far, which is all kind of free, which you can find on her website, is it's been motivational. In other words, it's been a very polite, friendly way of kicking me up the bum by just presenting, you know, the idea that I do know the answers to my current sort of frustrations at not being confident enough or sort of marketing myself properly. And so yeah, I really need to pull my finger out and get on with all of that, really. I guess the other thing that I want to do is you know, maybe try a few new shows, but also just continue on with new colourways and learning new dye techniques and so on. So I hope you will join in that journey with me. Stay tuned on the podcast, sign up to the newsletter, but definitely shop with me at sarahstexturecrafts.com. So I'm sorry that was a shorter podcast than usual, and it was a bit kind of all about me. But you know, do send me a note and let me know how you're getting on and what you're working on, that kind of thing. And of course, any feedback you've got for me in terms of what I do, what you think I could do better, what you might like to see from me in the future, are always welcome. So pop those over at sarahstexturecrafts.com, and I would love to hear from you. So the last bit of the podcast is going to be just a couple of images and a few videos from out with Darren and Patch during the week off we had. So I hope you'll enjoy those, and if I don't speak to you during the month, then I hope to see you next month with a longer podcast where I'll be able to show you a bit more about what I've been working on, hopefully have some finished items, and maybe some news on that secret sauce stuff. Okay, so I'll catch you later, guys. Have a really great June, and dreaming fibre. See you soon. Hope you can see them. The swifts are back. And they're just diving on the surface of the water. We're in Exeter on Quay. There's Patch. You're going to come and say hello, Patch? Say hello, Bubba. There you go. And I'm with Darren.
Hello.
And we're on holiday. Yay! It's really nice to see them. Actually, I hope you can see them. Okay, unruly dog found a better spot to get into the water, no things to chase. Hi Patch. Hey?
Because you can't chase the ducks.
I know, that's what she's thinking about, duck on the brain.
It's ducks, rabbits or squirrels.
Yeah.
Or cats.
Or birds. Just generally, if it runs, she'll chase it. Wouldn't you, you little sausage? Field of buttercups. Patch! Say hello. Hello, puppy. It's a good girl, isn't it? Go and get Daddy. Go and get him. Where is he? Go get him. She's a good girl.
Buttercup on her face.
Yeah.
See on her nose, it's yellow.